going on, Jerome's? So padded practices start on Monday, and the Minnesota Vikings have had 4 practices so far, one open to the public on Saturday. And we got some updates on the depth chart, right? So everything obviously is unofficial at this point. The team hasn't even released theirs, but with the help of some people who are out on the scene, some of the beat writers, also Sean Borman, stud, respect, we're basically how they've been lining up, first, second, third team, etc. Now, all this is fluid. All this is subject to change, but there's some interesting things going on. First and foremost, obviously, is the development that J.J. McCarthy has been QB2 the entire training camp, right? And going back to OTAs, very clear that Nick Mullins was quarterback 2, J.J. McCarthy working with the 3s, but Kevin O'Connell said that they're going to give McCarthy opportunities, and he has been seizing his opportunities. Now, you could say, yes, no pads yet. He's playing against the 2s, but also he's playing with the 2s, so no big deal. Also, he has been working against the first team defense at times too. No big deal. But that's basically where we're at. And I think it could be a spot too where even if McCarthy doesn't overtake Darnold, if they're comfortable with him as quarterback 2, they could potentially trade Nick Mullins. Because if they still like the development of Jaron Hall, they could have him on the practice squad. I think Mullins, if they try to get him on the practice squad, maybe he doesn't get through waivers because, as you've seen, the value of a veteran quarterback does have a ton of it, right? So I think that if the Vikings want to save a roster spot and only have 2 on the 53 as opposed to 3, potentially trading Mullins could be it. Running backs wise, so it's Aaron Jones, it's Ty Chandler, and that's everyone else. Notably, Myles Gaskins has been the third running back so far. King Kene, I think Kene is basically just a kick returner, and I think that he will be all pro in that regard this year. McBride, they're transitioning in slowly off of NFI. CJ Ham is, of course, the fullback. Wide receivers, so I feel like there's a separation between the top 7 and the bottom 4. So Jefferson, Addison, yes, 1, 2. Brandon Powell, Jalen Speedy Naylor working in there too, but also in the same level working with the 2s consistently. Trent Sherfield, Thayer Thomas, as well as a little bit of Tristan Jackson there as well. So that's a 7. And then I'll put Lucky Jackson, Malik Knowles, Ty James, and Deshaun Jones with primarily with the third team. But of course, that could change very quickly. Tight ends wise, so Hawkinson up on blocks. Oliver and Johnny Munt have been your top 2 tight ends. Johnny Munt essentially taking over the TJ Hawkinson role. We said maybe Oliver gets a little bit more love in the passing game, but his role as the blocking tight end, basically as a 6th offensive lineman, is pretty well established. Robert Tonyan, who had a great OTA, I think you could see him mixing in more with Munt. Nick Muse, Trey Knox with the third team. Also, a little bit of Samus Reyes in there as well, like one of McCarthy's incompletions in 7-on-7s was the Samus Reyes. It's interesting. One of his touchdowns was Trey Knox. Offensive line, so Darisaw, Brandel, Bradbury, Ed Ingram, and Brian O'Neill. So that's your first team heading into the meat of training camp. Now, Dalton Reisner, who obviously has experience at left guard. The Vikings started last year. It's where he started for 4 years in Denver before that. But Reisner has been working almost exclusively as second team right guard. So he obviously knows how to play left guard. Working on some of the footwork and muscle memory at right guard makes sense because this is an open competition. Brandel, Ed Ingram, Dalton Reisner, whoever the best 2 are going to start. It's beautiful, man. Also beautiful. So Walter Rouse is beginning to run as a second-team left tackle. Henry Bird, second-team left guard. That's a switch up from OTAs. Him and Tyrese Robinson are sort of in that mix as that 4th guard. Diamond Dan Feeney, of course, is the utility swingman, the new Brett Jones, the new Austin Schlutman. David Quisenberry. So Quisenberry last year was a swing backup tackle, veteran, a little bit longer in the tooth. But a fantastic asset. I love having him aboard. But Rouse as Darisaw's understudy, something to keep in mind. Third team, so Jeremy Flax. Jeremy Flax, 6'5", but I mean, Jeremy Flax is like Josh Oliver. They're listed at 6'5", but I swear they're like 6'7". Jeremy Flax, 343 pounds. So it's interesting that he's getting run as the third team left tackle. Doug Nestor, as well as Spencer Rowland, 2 UDFAs on the third team. Tyrese Robinson, who they do like, as well as Michael Juergens, a notable development. Juergens is working as third team center. And it could be a spot, too, where a bit of a redshirt year for Juergens this year, works his way into the mix next year. Like I said, could he be the dark horse to replace Bradbury down the line? It's a possibility, man, because 3 years of center experience at Wake Forest before being a badass guard for the Demon Deacons last year. It's pretty fantastic. Also, notably, Henry Bird has been the fourth team backup center, working with Jaron Hall and company. Defensively, so obviously defense is a lot less static than offense, and specifically offensive line, but you're starting 3 defensive linemen in the 3-4 base defense. Tillery and Bullard holding down the 5 techs, Harrison Phillips at the nose. Jumping Jonah Williams has experience with Kevin O'Connell from the Rams days, as well as Jaquelin Roy, second team DNs. Taki Taimani out of Oregon / Washington, as well as Tyler Manoa working as the backup nose tackles at this point in time. And then it's an amalgamation of James Lynch, Jihad Ward, who, all right, so Jihad Ward can play edge, but also can play that 5-tech spot, so a little bit of versatility there, as well as Levi Drake Rodriguez and UFL star Jalen Redmond bringing up the rear with the gear. Edge rushers, as you would expect, AVG, Grenard, Diamond Dallas Turner, PJ2 as that 4th edge rusher onto the field. And then you get into Andre Carr II, last year's UDFA out of Army, as well as Gabriel Murphy, this year's UDFA out of UCLA. Linebackers-wise, as you expect, as well as cornerbacks-wise. So Shaq Griffin avoided major injury. It's beautiful to see. With Mekhi Blackman on injured reserve, it has been a Caleb Evans as that 3rd corner. Murph obviously holding down the slot, as well as outside in base. And then basically Andrew Booth Jr., Duke Shelley have been worked in as the 2nd team cornerbacks, with Blackman up on blocks, Jalen Williams 2nd team slot. McLaughlin, who I got high hopes for currently with the 3rd team. Hopefully he rises up. Safeties wise, pretty much as you expect. So Harrison, Beasley, Metellus out there the majority of the snaps. Scene would be the understudy Harrison Smith, although he did miss Saturday's practice. Carry on my J-word, son. Backing up Beasley as well as Harrison. And then Theo Jackson, basically the swap out for Metellus. Now, this holds true to last season, to when Metellus did miss a couple snaps. It was Theo Jackson coming in and filling in that hybrid, slot linebacker, safety type role. And then specialists. So, as of right now, Will Reichard's going to beat out John Parker Roma. They may as well just cut Romo now and just sign a cornerback or something. And punting-wise, so as we said, Ryan Wright really had to step his ass up because Seth Vernon has a leg on him. Some of the clips have been floating around. Vernon just dropping a casual 65-yard bomb. No big deal. And Wright had a great rookie season 2022 as a UDFA coming out of Tulane. Last year he was ass, thank you, and now Seth Vernon is legitimate competition. That's probably a bit more of a toss-up. DePaulo, the ageless wonder at long snapper, and of course Najee Thompson, even though he's been slowed by injury, believe it's a left knee injury. It's a knee injury, Joe, but hopefully he'll get back out there. One of the best punt gunners in the league as of right now. But that's it. Let's take a look at the updated Vikings depth charts as we head into the first pattern practice on Monday. Let us know our thoughts, comment section. You guys are the best you know what to do. Skull production value.